My name is Damali Ssali and I welcome you to this episode of the Ideation Corner. The Ideation Corner is a space where ideas are discussed and dissected. And today I host Tony Okao Otoa. Tony is the Executive Director of the Stanbic Business Incubator. The Stanbic Incubator was set up and mandated to support the development of small and medium-sized enterprises in Uganda. In his role at the incubator, Tony designs strategies, manages and implements activities to support entrepreneurs in an incubator setting. Prior to this, Tony worked as both the National Content Manager and the Public Affairs Manager at Total. Tony has also worked with civil society in the United Kingdom and in Uganda, focusing on the development of the oil and gas sector in the East African region. It was in this period that Tony published on the regulations and laws of the oil and gas sector. In addition to that, Tony is the founder of the National Content Council, which focuses on the development and the promotion of local content in the oil and gas sector. Furthermore, Tony has since 2014 been an advisor on local content to the Uganda Chamber of Mines and Petroleum. Tony holds a BSc in International Relations and a Master of Laws in International Law. I am very happy to host Tony on the Ideation Corner today. Tony, you're very welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Damali. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be here.
I want to find out, what was the idea behind setting up the Stanbic Business Incubator?
Okay, so when you think about a typical SME in Uganda, if you went to URSB today, you'll find that you have, let's say, about 200 registered businesses. If you went back 3 years from now to find out the life or the health of those businesses, you'll actually find that less than 20% are alive. 20%. So what we decided to do as a strategy, as a bank, Patrick Muhire's brainchild was, how about we support these businesses to live longer, to be more sustainable, to live beyond, we want to have them advanced stories, the Mukwano stories, the nice house with plastic stories, where businesses live beyond the owners and they're more sustainable. So we did set up a business incubator, and the idea was to train and support small and medium enterprises. You know how much these enterprises contribute to the economy, but also on top of contributing to the economy, they are an engine for growth. Look at employment, look at opportunities that are within the space, but also they are a great contributor to the manufacturing sector as well, a sector that the government is trying to push as an avenue for growth and development in the country. So the incubator, first of all, focused on the oil and gas sector. We all know there's need for many Ugandans to get into this sector, many businesses to get into this sector. But if you look at the first phase that we finished, which was the exploration and appraisal phase, very few Ugandan businesses participated in that phase.
What exactly is that for a layman?
Okay, for a layman.
I don't know what exploration.
Okay, so in an oil cycle, if you want to understand an oil cycle, it begins with the first phase, which is exploration. You explore. Like John Speak and Stanley, you explore, And when you explore, you go into this place to find out if there is actually oil. Then when you find a sign of oil, you then do what they call appraisal. Now, appraisal is to find out how much of that oil is in the ground. That is the first phase that we went through. Now, immediately after that first phase, we went into what we call a dip, but that dip is a planning phase. This is the phase that we have taken long to get out, where we have been planning, budgeting, really understanding how to drill and take out this oil, but most so getting information that will inform what we call the final investment decision, FID. Okay. Now, of course, after FID, we're now going into the crazy phase of development, of construction, where huge opportunities are going to be manifested. And for the Ugandan businesses to be able to participate in that, they have to be compliant. They have to be to a standard that the oil and gas...
Yes. Before I interrupt, you were saying that Ugandan businesses were unable to fully participate in the first phase, i.e. in finding out where the oil is, how much it is, how can we plan for it. Why was that?
Look, oil and gas in Uganda is a new phenomenon. Very new. And just like anything, Damali, if I came to your home and I said, cook me this Japanese sushi, you won't cook it. You won't actually want to get into that conversation. But if I said, cook for me luombo, you'll probably do it because you understand it. So many businesses did not understand the oil and gas sector. So typical of African businesses or Ugandan businesses, we always wait to see then if you understand? So there's that hesitation to jump in. And many guys started jumping in towards the end of that phase where opportunities were now starting to dwindle. And the problem with that is lack of information. And that was a huge problem for many Ugandan businesses. So the business incubator now comes in to sort out the information gap, bringing the oil and gas companies closer to the companies so they can have the right information at the right time, the opportunities that are coming, like the contracts and the bids that are being, manifested in the sector. But more so, I think the idea of creating businesses that are beautiful for a joint venture partnership. So we're kind of like dressing up this girl, making her attractive for her suitor. Because you see, not many Ugandan businesses have the capital to deal in the sector. It's a very capital-intensive sector, that's one. But also two, it's a patient one. You really have to be patient. Many Ugandan businesses don't have the capital and the manpower and the ability to be patient for that long time. So the foreign companies that have been in this business for a long time can actually ride on that. So for the Ugandan businesses to be attractive to get into a joint venture partnership with these international companies, that is where we come in. We train them on compliance and standards and, oil and gas standards and all of that. And by doing that, we make them attractive for that partnership. And then they can actually get into this good relationship where they can learn from these international companies, they can gain more skills, but more so they can jump onto the real contracts. We're sick and tired of this whole idea of a Ugandan company being a subcontractor. We want them to be a proper contractor and then probably subcontract the European company or American company that's coming in. That is the story that we want.
Now, from a layman's perspective,
yes,
from a Ugandan business, and I hear you speaking right now, that the incubator is supporting Ugandan companies to be able to be compliant. Talk me through what that is in regular terms, regular words.
Right. So let's just begin with the basic company, Damali. If you went to the streets right now and you asked any company for their records, just to show if they're paying taxes, if they're paying an SSF, if they're paying any dues to whatever, or if they're even certifying or making sure that their products are to the standard that is necessitated or needed, you'll find that very many businesses don't understand that. They will say, boss, tubade tuchikola bulijjo ebitwitambula kati oze mu malala ga stands. So it's important for you to understand that that's crucial for businesses. We were just talking before this show, I think, about the digital stamps. Right now, if you're a manufacturer of any good, you have to have a digital stamp. But of course, to have a digital stamp, you also have to be UNBS certified. So you see, all of these things come into play. Compliance, okay? Which is a thing that is going to become normal. Now, let me just bring compliance down to Omuntu Wawansi, your normal trader. In the next few months, you're going to have digital invoicing, where for every item you sell in your store, it has to electronically be invoiced. And that invoice reflects that you are meaning you cannot avoid paying taxes anymore. So a guy in Chukubo needs to know that, one, his goods have to have digital stamps. I was just talking to my friend from Kasita who was saying, Mr. Sechito, who was saying many Basubuzi who had their goods, like the drinks which were in their stores before COVID or before the lockdown rather, have failed to sell their stock. Because when their stock goes into a shop, the fact that it doesn't have a digital stamp, it's impounded. And there's an issue, with the shop owner as well. So most shop owners are not buying that stock. So what happens? They can't, you're losing business. So you have digital. So compliance is very key. And I know it's difficult. We all know it's difficult. It's expensive. But the more you start doing it in a small manner, piling it on and growing it, it becomes easy. It becomes easy. And after some time, you actually ask yourself, why was I not actually doing this? Why was I avoiding it? So it's really a mentality thing. And again, I think for many traders, it's going to have to be a paradigm shift. This whole thing of thinking you can cut corners. Sometimes, and I always say that, the easiest way to a mistake or the longest or the fastest way to a mistake is a shortcut. You cut a shortcut and boom. Mistake. So that's what we're trying to do with the businesses, to try and get them compliant.
So tell me, you're saying basically for a Ugandan company to benefit from the oil and gas sector opportunities that are going to come up, is you're required to be compliant. And the Stanbic Incubator supports you in doing so.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we've done the first phase, which is training. And now we're also going into a second phase, which is certification of these companies, ISO certifications, creating companies that are to the international standards. Damali, I was so amazed 2 days ago when I received a WhatsApp on our work group from a company, a guy saying, thank you guys for training us on joint venture partnerships. I have just gotten a joint venture partner who is located in Canada and wants us to take our products and our services to Canada.
Incredible.
Now, for him to be able to do that, he has to be compliant, he has to be ISO satisfied. We have supported him in that journey. And look at where his business is going. Then the second story, probably, which I like talking about, is a story of a company that came to the incubator. Nothing, briefcase company, but the dreams were huge. And these guys wanted to do the big things. We trained this company, molded it, and got it into shape in the sense that it was a prominent company. We got it certified. As I speak right now, they are doing a contract for the Katosi Water Extension Project into Kampala. They are doing a contract for the Chinese National Offshore Company, that is Sinok, and they're also doing a contract for Bolloré, an international logistics company. This is in a span of 1 year.
Just 1 year.
So you can't tell me anything is impossible. You can't tell me your business can't grow. It's all possible.
Okay. Now, tell me, how do I get into the incubator if I'm a business? How do I get this support?
Oh, it's very easy. We've actually made it easy. We've made it even easier for Muntu Wawasi. So initially when we started, like I mentioned before, it was an oil and gas story, but we're saying no. Almost all sectors connect with the oil and gas sector. And we had a criteria of a normal SME, 5 employees, turnover of about 30 million a year, having been in operations for at least one financial cycle, one business cycle, which is about a year. And that works for Kampala because the businesses in Kampala, many of them are astute. They are able to show that. But when you get out of Kampala, it's a different story. And as you know, now we're no longer just in Kampala, we're all over the country.
Where it was.
So we have hubs in Gulu to coordinate the north. We have a hub in Mbale to coordinate the east. A hub in Mbarara to coordinate the west, and of course, one amazing story, which is around agriculture in Hoima. It's an agri-commodities, like a stock exchange for agriculture in Hoima. And I think that for us is a great thing. So in the regions, we go lower because, again, many regional businesses are usually micro. One man owner, one family owner, and that kind of thing. And they don't churn out as much money as the Kampala guys. So we lower our criteria for their entry and we make it possible for them. But also what we have seen is we were calling for businesses that are already registered. But that is what we saw a little bit limiting. So we decided to go ahead and say, how can we then support them to become registered? So they come onto the program, and when they come into the program, what our role, our duty is to get them registered, compliant, and credible businesses. So that way, in fact, you're more open to everyone. Absolutely. Not just the registered ones. Absolutely. Who are probably astute. Absolutely. For us as a brand, as the Stanbic Holdings brand, our goal or our desire is to be part of this whole local content story in the country. If we can grow businesses to become better, to do things better, that's a good story for everyone. Everyone. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, let me also tell you, on top of it being easy for anyone to get in, we do not care whether you bank with Stanbic or not. Oh, that's important. I was just going absolutely to ask that. Free. Is this only restricted to Stanbic people? No. Or, okay. We don't care whether you bank with Stanbic or not, and it's absolutely free of charge to your business. It doesn't cost me anything. It's just your time. Your time. That's all. And how do I find you? I'm listening to the Ideation Corner right now. Yeah. I want to get, It's easy. It's easy. So if you went online onto the Stanbic Holdings website, you can find a link to us. But also, you can come over to Kololo for the guys in Kampala. We are at Lower Kololo Terrace below the airstrip, where you can actually enjoy a lot of what we have there. We have space, physical space that has facilities for businesses to work. So free space for businesses to operate from, boardrooms for businesses to have decent meetings. Imagine you have a foreign partner flying in to meet you, and you are taking him to a kafunda to meet you.
Or they want to have a virtual call, a Zoom call.
A Zoom call.
In some crowd.
We have all of that. We have state-of-the-art video conferencing facilities. We have whatever it takes.
And it's free to access.
Free to access as long as you are part of the program or an alumni.
Okay, of the program.
Of the program.
And for me to become part of the program, I walk into or access.
Yeah, just walk in. Absolutely. Or you can even walk into any Stanbic branch.
Oh.
Any Stanbic branch around the country. Ask them about the business incubator. They'll give you the registration form, or they can actually contact us, and we can actually support you in your business, especially with the idea of growth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you when I was going through your profile, I mentioned local content.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Uganda, of course, we also have this local content law.
Yeah.
We're trying to see that at least we have the Buy Uganda, Build Uganda, which was connected to local content. In your expert opinion, where do you think we are as a country in supporting local content?
That's a crazy one, huh? you know, in terms of laws, policies, and regulations, we are up there.
Oh, we're good.
We're good. In terms of implementation, that's another story. And I think that's where it becomes a problem, especially in terms of looking at the benefits for the local people or the country. You know, if you think about the amount of revenue or opportunities that were taken away, for instance, in the oil and gas first phase, there was so much money was taken out. And we were saying, imagine what transformation would be in this country if most of that money was retained in country. Local content is about retaining as much, having the right ability in terms of manpower. So the right people for the job to be able to get that salary or get paid or get those jobs so they can retain that money in here, but also the provision of goods and services. Having the right businesses that are astute in such a way that they can provide the right services, the right businesses, and can retain a lot of that.
That way the money stays more.
Yeah. Country financial retention or money retention in the country, in the economy. I think that is what is important.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like that's key. And sometimes, speaking from a regular man's perspective, or woman's perspective.
But we can use man in the Bible way.
Yeah. A regular man or woman's perspective is that, I feel like if from a regular perspective, I think about it, oil and gas, I may think that my business actually doesn't fit into that oil and gas. If you can, break me down those sectors, the key things that are going to...
Okay, so if you look at the regulations, there are about more than 15 areas that are ring-fenced for Ugandan businesses. Ring-fenced. Civil works construction, transport logistics, catering, camp services, manpower services. There's so many. But think about it this way.
Ring-fenced for Ugandans.
Ring-fenced for Ugandans. But this is the interesting thing. If you are not to the standard, you cannot provide that service. So if, for instance, I need a camp services company to run my camp, and there's no Ugandan business that can actually do that,
that can meet the standard.
I can write to the Petroleum Authority and get a no objection and get a foreign company to come and do the same. Let's also remember that the oil and gas sector is a time-bound sector. You don't have to wait. Our problem in Uganda is people are just so laid back. You understand? That attitude is a problem. Right now, I think what's best is for most companies to be getting ready. But if you look at the laxity around the country, you will see that very few are actually getting ready. We're talking of a conditional final investment decision coming before the end of the year. But not very many people are getting ready. So back to the companies that can actually, or sectors that can actually jump in there. Even a woman selling mandazi can get in.
Can get in there? Okay.
Think about it this way. You're going to have several truck drivers. You're going to have over 1 million tons of goods and equipment transported into the oil and gas sector. You have normal truck drivers, including me, Otoa, who's also driving into the oil and gas sector. I need to eat. So how have you situated your small, nice store, your small kafunda, to be able to tap into that? Food, agriculture, food. If you went to Hoima right now, you'll be shocked that most of the chicken that is coming from or going into the businesses or the hotels is got from Kampala. Tomatoes from Kampala. Fish with Lake Alberta's claws from Kampala. So there's an opportunity. Even a local fisherman can style up, get his nice ice box, and be able to deliver fish to whoever is aggregating it for the companies.
Okay, now I'm having a bit of a problem here.
Yeah.
You're talking about all these wonderful opportunities that are open to Ugandans. Right. The laws are there, that they in fact ring fence for Ugandans. Yeah. But you're saying there's a caveat. For you, a Ugandan, to get it, you must be compliant.
This caveat, by the way, is not documented, but it is there. I mean, let me just give a simple story. Yeah, there was a guy when I was working at Total. We went for a national content supplier development forum in Hoima, and one guy called Muzamiru stood up and said, "Boss, we are tired of you guys getting your meat from abroad. Kampala."
Oh, Kampala.
Because guys were getting it from quality cuts. Say, but we have cows here, we have goats here. Why don't you get from us?
Kampala, yeah.
So the first question was, okay. Do you have an abattoir? The man said, an abattoir? You can just cut, we cut here, we bring you fresh. When it's even still bleeding.
It's even still
The Muzungus in the room were like, because health and safety standards, it's a fail. If you have, let's say, the guy controlling the rig, who is the boss of the rig, with an ill tummy, the rig doesn't work because he's messed up. You only have 1 or 2 guys who control that. And if it's messed up, a rig can cost close to $250,000 a day in rent. Okay. That is money being lost. So health and safety standards are very important. So this guy did not have an abattoir. So we said, okay, fine. How about we sort you out with an abattoir? So Talo built him a very nice abattoir, tiled it, running water. The windows were covered with nets to keep the flies out. It was a nice one. Big man started delivering. But remember, these Muzungus and all these guys in the camps, like they're cuts. A chop, a steak. My man didn't know. For him, it was just about cutting and bringing. So there was a problem there. But anyway, so he starts supplying. And after month 8, he starts feeding. And all of a sudden, he stopped supplying.
What was the problem?
And the question was, what was the problem? Thank you. And he said, I cannot sustain your demand.
I don't have enough cows.
But think about it this way. How many trucks are leaving the Bunyoro area coming into Kampala to meet packers? With the money he was getting, couldn't he intercept that? So you see, his vision and his idea was very limited. Okay. But also the idea of partnerships. How about getting someone who understands this to grow it bigger beyond that?
Okay.
So it's that mentality that has to be changed. But to be honest with you, this is an opportunity that is open to anyone, everyone. It's just the preparedness that is quite important. And that preparedness has to reflect in how you do or how you run your shop, your business.
Okay, now I'm having a major problem here that we have these opportunities. We need businesses to be able to comply to the minimum standards to be able to tap into those opportunities. And yet there appears to be very little information around. Okay, from my perspective, I haven't seen that much information. When I talk to you, yes, I get it. But how many people talk to you?
Absolutely. Well, I think I wouldn't say there's not much information because there's a lot of information that's starting to fly around. Petroleum Authority has done a great job of putting...
maybe what I'm saying. This information is buried in offices, conferences, documents. That guy in Kabale with his cows does not come to these conferences. So we are talking to ourselves, with the people who read and, and we're not the business. And
that's the unfortunate...
So how do we get to the people?
That is the inconvenient truth, which is quite unfortunate. I think it's really more about information sharing. When I was at Total and when we did the industry baseline survey to see the preparedness of Ugandan businesses, the number one problem that we found out for many of the businesses was visibility over demand, lack of information. Lack of information. And because there's lack of information, or you call it information asymmetry or whatever.
Information asymmetry.
Because everyone has...
Then the people who
exactly.
don't know.
So there's these small pockets of information in different places. And there's no place where it's... That is what we're doing now at the incubator.
Okay.
So the incubator should be your walk-in place where it's your oil and gas library or to book to, if anything, of oil and gas information, where you can just walk in there and get yourself the right oil and gas information that can actually support you in your business planning and in your plans for your entity. I'm
also thinking about Omuntu Wawansi. As Omuntu Wawansi, I know that they don't like walking into those beautiful buildings or say the Stanbic Bank. They do not read online stuff. They do not attend webinars. They won't download a policy. I know also that they tend to like to listen to radio. They want content a little bit in their local language, a little bit simplified. And those are the people, if we're going to grow this economy in a way that benefits everyone from the oil boom that we're going to have, we need to get to that level because those are the people who need it the most.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's very difficult, but also what I have come to learn all through these COVID times is many of these people that you're talking about have started to appreciate online information. You can sit on your phone and watch anything that's going on through the WhatsApp forums, through the Facebook forums or Twitter forums or so on and so forth. What probably is lacking is the kind of content that is going into these platforms. I remember listening to, I won't mention names, but a gentleman saying that oil is being taken out of the oil area in trucks. And it went viral and people were saying, yes, it is true. We've seen trucks taking oil out. and you think this person has everything in his influence to research, to find out the truth and inform. But yesterday someone told me that being educated gives you the privilege to inform, disinform, and misinform. And I was like, oh, wow, that's actually true. Because you see, a person without education or not without information will hardly find the time to even misinform because who's listening? But then you guys, you Masoma, you go out to really, distort information based on what you want people to think. I think, in my opinion, we need to start working on these spaces where we create information that can be easily consumed by your normal guy.
Yeah, by regular. Because I'd like for me, for example, to see conversations happen around on radio. Conversations being had by someone like you who is an expert in the oil and gas sector, local content, but having it in Uganda, like on CBS, and start talking to them and say,
I think,
because that's when you're going to get to the people.
That's true.
Again, on the local radio, that information has to flow in that way. That's why certain bits of information gets to the guy on the ground and others don't. I feel like the information to do with oil and gas local content, how Ugandans can benefit, is stuck in conferences by these highly educated Ugandans, intellectuals like yourself, talking to the guy with his cows in Hoima.
I know, but allow me to disagree at some point. My association, the Uganda Chamber of Mines and Petroleum, has gone on a deliberate 90 days media campaign. We're now probably in the last 30 days, and every day for the last days, we have been bombarding radio shows, talk shows, from your top in the local languages, including the local languages, speaking to the people, but also not just speaking to the people, but using experts in this area, people from the ministry, people from the authority, people from the chamber, to speak to people in a way that they understand, to explain to them about the opportunities and how they can engage. I think that's a good starting point.
Yeah, that's good.
And again, from the chamber...
I didn't know about that, actually.
Yeah, I mean, from the chamber, that's a great thing. But then also, the Petroleum Authority has gone and done a deliberate move to ask the companies to have a supplier development forum every quarter, and not just in Kampala, but in the regions, which is also a good thing. But also the Petroleum Authority has also deliberately gone on to have the similar engagements. I remember the one that I facilitated about a couple of months back, or no, actually in March, was one of those where you're actually seeing the authority saying, we want this information to get out to the people. But I absolutely understand where you're coming from. Probably slow, right? It is probably slow, and we need to speed it up. But sometimes too much information is also, it just clogs your mind. So I think it's about understanding what information and how we can give it out. But I do appreciate what you're saying. I think it's very important for the people to have the right information at the right time, and information that matters.
Yeah, information that can make a difference to their lives. Because for me, I feel like, and it's always a frustration of mine, where we, the intellectuals, have their conferences, talk to themselves about these opportunities.
And they use the big words, the epicenter of the diagnostic I know.
I want to because I feel that that is a question I ask. You as an expert in this field, where do you think we are? And you're the one who broke it down and said, policy-wise, excellent. On the ground, nothing. In order to...
We could do more. We could do more.
To bridge that gap. You have to bring the information down to Omuntu Wawansi, and then all you need is actually to know the standards required in the oil and gas sector for any sector. For you, it looks like the oil and gas sector is actually open enough to be able to benefit almost everyone. But in our mindset, Omuntu Wawansi mindset, when they hear Mafuta, they're my business, what has it?
How does it go to do? Yeah.
And they don't, and so is that disconnect as well.
Yeah. I mean, think about it this way. You have a pipeline that's going to go through several districts, all the way from Hoima into Chankwanzi, into Mubende, into Gomba, into Zimbabwe, into Rakai, into Luengo, then into Rakai. These people have to benefit from that story.
Located in
just think about it. Yeah, because you're going to have you're going to have camps which are going to be built or constructed along this pipeline. Those camps have people who need to eat food. There are people who need to have clothes washed. They have people who need to have their cars serviced. I mean, all of these are opportunities for the people in those districts.
So this corridor could be a development corridor.
Absolutely.
Across that.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Okay.
So there's a lot of opportunity for the local people in terms of either manpower as well. I mean, providing labor, be it top labor or engineering labor or even the casual labor.
Okay.
I mean, when you think about the oil and gas story, let me tell you, by the way, which is an interesting fact. Out of 100%, of the opportunities in terms of manpower, 1% are people like you.
1%?
Who went to masters, engineer, Dundee and all these places and are scrambling to get oil and gas accolades and all that stuff. You're just 1%. The unfortunate bit is that most of those jobs are probably already taken, by the way. That's the 1%. 14% are your engineers, your, the guys who've gone to Makerere and Chambugo. I mean, your engineers through university who are going to provide civil engineering works and all of this stuff, 25% are unskilled labor, Juakali. All they have to have is just level 1 and level 2 of HSE, Health, Safety and Environment certifications. Certification.
That's Muntu Wawansi.
Muntu Wawansi, proper guy. He can be a P7 dropout, he can be a senior full guy, 25%. The 60% are your craftsmen, your plumbers, your builders, your masons, your welders, your pipe fitters. Can you imagine? 60%.
Okay.
And this is an area that a lot of us as Ugandans have always ignored. When they tell you to go to a technical school or whatever, you're like, I want to go to university. And what are you studying at university? BA Arts. I mean, I don't want to say it's a wrong thing to do your BA Arts, but I mean, that's where the opportunities are going to be. I was in Angola, and I'll be honest with you, a welder earns close to $6,000 a month. They only work 6 months a year because it's month on, month off, month on, 6 months a year.
That's way more than
you have gone to university for your masters and whatever. So you see the opportunities there. But again, are we training our young people for these opportunities? Are we encouraging them to be able to do that? If you think about welders in Uganda, we have less than 200 qualified welders.
Okay.
If you think about the demand, we need close to between 3,000 to 5,000 welders. You know what's going to happen? You're going to get welders from India, welders from wherever, coming into our country and enjoying what typical Ugandans would have.
Question for you.
Yes.
You're an advisor.
Yes.
I say this in your program.
Absolutely.
You're the advisor on local content to the Uganda Chamber of Mines, especially. What is it doing about that?
So we've decided to train a lot of welders and craftsmen, actually. We have an ongoing program which is being run by one of our partners, that is Solid Rock. And Solid Rock is our implementing partner. And what we are doing is training these welders in what we call the American Welding Society standard. It is the _1 standard for welding around the world. AWS, American Welding Society.
How does someone know about this?
So
what do I need to
it's out there. In fact, it was advertised in the press where we were asking companies to bring their young people to enjoy the benefits of this free training. And this was, of course, sponsored by Private Sector Foundation through the SDF. It's the Skills Development Fund, which is meant to support the development of these kind of trades.
What do I need?
Yeah.
Minimum requirement for me to
just be a company or a welder that is interested in welding, and you have the skill.
You need to already be a welder to be able to.
Damali, welding is a very interesting skill, but you don't have to be a welder. Because you can start from scratch.
If I hear this and I was like, you know what, I want to become a welder because those opportunities.
Yeah.
And I'm a
no, you can start from scratch. Okay. I know of a very young guy who I met at the golf club a couple of years back called Grace. I asked Grace what he wanted to do in life because him being in the locker room was not the best story I would want for a young man of his kind. And I supported him to get oil and gas training. He had never welded in his life.
Okay.
He went to that training for 6 months, became an oil and gas certified trainer, American Welding Society standards. Today, Grace and all of his cohort own a company called Coded Welders, and they're welding several things from windows to grills to anything you can think of.
Right,
they're already making money as they prepare themselves and as they get themselves ready for the oil and gas sector. That is just one story.
Let me ask.
So it's possible.
So let me ask, in this wonderful thing that you guys are doing with the Chamber of Mines, do you ever happen to go to schools and tell them, so that I'm an S4 candidate right now, but you're telling me after you finish your final exams, in your vacation, you can join our thing, and these are the opportunities in welding in future.
Yeah.
You know? So that I may decide, if I don't have enough money to actually continue with A-levels, I can actually just go and start studying the
Absolutely. No.
That's important.
What you have done is creating an ideation in my mind. I think we need to. I think we need to go that way. I think we need to follow that route. I think it's an opportunity, especially.
Schools
You're right. I think
talk to
again, this old story I think has just been around our old people in conferences and all that stuff. So we need to take it down to the young guys so they can make. Again, it's career decisions, and I think this is important. No, I totally agree. I think that's a great idea that I will definitely have to follow up.
There's so many people with the S4 vacation, S6 vacation. They may decide to just branch out. Look at Grace you're talking about.
Yeah.
I could be in my S4 vacation and decide, let me try this welding thing out that they're providing.
And if it works, it's
my company.
Absolutely.
That's I know a lot of developed countries, they literally create technical skills that give you lifetime employment without you having to go through university. So I'm asking, because a lot of developed economies, actually people not everyone has to go get a degree. And
Absolutely.
A lot of our people, we are going, everyone thinking you have to go all the way, get a degree.
University.
You actually don't like the certificate you actually don't need. Start looking for a job.
You know what's interesting?
This gives us a chance.
You know what's interesting? If you think about Germany as a country, it has a very interesting concept when it comes to education. Most young people actually go via the technical route. And you will actually find that it is what it is, very industrialized, very, if you think about the manufacturing that's done in the country, it's crazy. But it's just because the people, the young people are taken through that route. And again, it's up to you to either continue through that route or take on another. But you're given that opportunity.
And you can get your degree.
Absolutely, I think.
And what we need to basically get you're the advisor to the Mines. Please advise
Do not use
that. We need to get into the technical school.
Absolutely.
And encourage them to advertise. Then we go to the secondary school. Speak to candidates. That there's this route and there's these opportunities coming up. But you have the opportunity to do that. You can even just try it out in vacation. We need to get to
I will take that on. Absolutely, I will take that on. I think it's very, very important.
It has to be practical. It has to be on the ground. You go to the young people, the technical schools in Hoima, in Gulu, in Kampala. You get to the secondary schools in Hoima, in Gulu, in Kampala, so that A-level candidates, senior 6 candidates, we don't all have to be channeling, getting degree certificates that we actually don't need, that actually won't give us a job. When there's another route.
I totally agree.
In 2 years, you could actually get a job.
I think that's very, very important. For, again, back to your idea of information or information sharing, that is where it starts from. Getting that information to the people, or especially to the young people, so they can make their decisions. Their right decisions. Look at Grace. He has a skill, but he's also he's now employing people as well. He owns a business. He owns a company. This is a guy who was earning less than 200,000 2 years ago. He's now earning millions in a month. That is the story that we want to see around young people, and I think it's very important.
Did he do A-levels or O-levels?
Yes, he did A-levels, but that was about it, really. And now look at him now. He's a business owner.
He's a business owner, employing people, owning a company, getting an income, contributing to the economy.
Absolutely.
He could have wasted other years trying to study to get a degree certificate and then be unemployed.
That's right.
So we need to tap the young.
Absolutely, absolutely. We need to start from, you know, the grassroots and then get it up.
Yeah. Question I wanted to ask you is like, when I was reading your profile, you're a lawyer.
Yeah.
How did you end up into business development, oil and gas, local content? How did you maneuver that?
So just to let you know, everything I studied, I have never used. I think, well, I probably just use the research beat of things and whatever, but I've never used my law. I've never used my international law. But I've just been a sucker for learning. So my first jobs have just been about, you know, really going in and learning on the job and becoming better on the job. I have this mindset thing where if I get into a situation and I don't understand something, I try to be the best person in it after some time. So what I'll do is learn and learn and learn and read and read and read. So enterprise development for me is a very interesting thing, which has a background that comes from my oil and gas experience, where I was supporting businesses to become, you know, oil and gas compliant and supporting them in their business development. But now, I mean, in terms of business, I think anyone can be anything or do anything as long as they set their mind to it. You know, I know people who have, you know, been able to dissect legal jargons and have never been to law school, you know, and I've seen people who can tell you so many things that you think they cannot do just because they do not have that education background. But I think it's all about learning and unlearning and unlearning and learning.
And this is self-learning.
Of course, self-learning. Very, very key. That's the best way to learn. I know people who are great mechanics and they've never been to engineering school or mechanical school. So it's really about your level of interest in that area, which I think for me is one key thing. My love for businesses, my love to see SMEs grow, my love to, or my passion for business development. That is where it comes from. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so Tony, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Do you have any last words, anything you want to say to a budding entrepreneur?
I think for a budding entrepreneur, what I would say is, if you want to be a great entrepreneur, don't come to your business as a worker or an employee. Come to your business as an entity that is trying to develop a business for growth, to make it attractive to the end user. I mean, if you look at the story that just happened a couple of days ago, the Nigerian company that sold for crazy money to a foreign company to be able to expand its operations in Africa, those young guys built a company with the dream and vision of creating it as a great company that can be attractive to other guys. You know, the problem with our situation is when you're a business owner, you want to run your business and it's yours, you're alone. You don't think about alternative sources of financing like equity, venture capital funds, and so on and so forth. Everyone is just thinking of the bank, the bank, the bank. So if you want to grow your business, if you want to start and have a great business, it starts by working within your business to make it compliant, attractive, resilient, that anyone who wants to join you on board to scale it will definitely pay top dollar to come and join you. That's all I can say. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Tony, for that, for sparing time to speak to me. As you had, please, if you're dreaming of becoming an entrepreneur, if you're an entrepreneur, you can go into the Stanbic Business Incubator so that they can give you support to become compliant and be able to access all the goods and resources, be able to access the upcoming oil and gas economy that is coming up. You can even start, you know, being compliant right now and make money out of it from the very beginning before the end. Please do access the Stanbic Incubator. Online, you can walk into the Stanbic Bank, but they also have locations in Gulu and Hoimara and Kampala. Thank you so much, and please do subscribe to my channel on YouTube, and it's in my name's Damali Ssali. Thank you.